Good morning. I'm probably going to just drop 2 videos back to back. Today, the boss man just texted me saying he's going to be late, so I got a little extra time to kill. And I wanted to do both of these anyways. So this is going to be the Blackjack video. If Blackjack is boring to you, just go ahead, hit the like button and move on. Close out the video. But hit the like button first. If potentially Blackjack is interesting to you, I want to recap my first weekend attempting to play professional blackjack. I'm just gonna get a little more comfortable. I've been talking about it for the last year. I have been trying to learn the game, the ins and the outs, and how to successfully play blackjack. And in my previous videos, if you've watched them, or if you do go watch them, I admitted to and acknowledged that my biggest weakness right now is the actual counting of the cards and keeping the count. Some dealers move really fast, and I need to improve. And I can confidently say that although I'm down $300, I was up 400 at the Saturday, and then I finished yesterday, Monday, down 300. I can confidently say that I am getting a lot better at counting cards, and I'm not stressed about being down because I lost multiple hands that I should not have lost. But that's common. That's called variance in blackjack. And so variance is when you have a hand that statistically wins a majority of the time. For example, this is a true story. I have 2 stories around double tens. I'll tell the first one. You never split tens unless you're counting and you know the proper deviations. Saturday when I was playing, I thought that the count was high, and so I was like, okay, let's split these tens. I was doing minimum bets, so really you shouldn't split tens even if the count's high and you're doing minimum bets. Don't draw that attention to yourself, because that's what you do. When you split tens, you draw attention to yourself. And when you're trying to count cards, you don't want attention. But this is Saturday, and this is my very first session, official session. And so I was making the little mistakes and learning the flow and etiquette. And I kind of knew that was etiquette, but what I experienced was wild. I put my other chip down and did the, signal to split, and the whole table, there were 4 other people, 3 on my right, 1 on my left. The whole table, almost in unison, groaned / shouted, "No! Don't do that," because it is generally considered a major faux pas to split tens, especially when other people around you are betting more money. The guy to my left was betting maybe $50, which still isn't a lot, but compared to my 5, I should be considerate. And so even though I thought it was a situation, I thought the count was high enough and the dealer up card was where I wanted it, I didn't split them. And the reality is, you play your game. You play your hands. If you want to split those tens, do it. It doesn't actually really because you can't predict what the future cards are, and people just say it messes up the game. I get it, but I didn't split those tens. And you know what? I left that session up $400. And so then on my session yesterday, Monday, where I lost a few $100, I had the swing. It was ironic, but also a sign from the universe that I felt like that was actually when I was doing the best at counting cards, is when I lost. And when I was still just not quite there, that's when I won. But I lost due to the variance, as I had mentioned earlier. Let me go back to the second story around splitting tens. I was in a situation where I was confident I had a running 15 count with about 3 decks left. And so that converts to a true 5, which is a pretty high count. And I also think the guy next to me was counting cards too. The guy next to me was fucking cool, but I think he was counting as well because he was upping his bets as the count went up as well. And so I was like, okay, I see what you're doing, bro. But the count was, I believe, at a true 5. The dealer had an up 6 card. Okay. So that's the worst up card for the dealer. When you have 2 10s, like I did again in this situation, and the count is 4, a true count 4 or higher, you actually split your 10s against the dealer's 6. But I was not doing large bets, and I was down to my last like $40. So I was like, I just don't want to split these right now, even though strategy says I should. And you know what happened? This is the variance. This is what variances are. And this is why Blackjack, you literally, like, you have to be okay with losing, and sometimes losing, not, I don't want to say big, but like significant chunks of your money. Because in that situation, when the count is high and you've got all the things in your favor, you up your bet, right? Dealer had a 6. The dealer's undercard, so you don't see the whole card until the dealer plays their hand. Flips a 10. So the dealer has 16. The dealer has 16. The count is really high. You are absolutely expecting a bust. You have a 20. No part of you is like stressed that you're going to lose that hand until the dealer flips the next card and it's a fucking 5. When the count is that high, the dealer pulls a 5 for a 21 and you lose on a hand that you like statistically rarely ever lose. That's called a variance. And that happened to me. And I was like, okay, I lost a chunk of change, but I, in the process, gained the confidence to know that I'm pretty sure I'm getting good. I would say I went from 75% there on the counting specifically to I'm at 90% now. I know I still have a little bit more room to go, especially with the faster dealers. With the slower dealers, it's way easier. And then you can like distract them and slow them down a little bit, but you just have to be very conspicuous. It doesn't matter now because I'm mostly doing minimum bets, or I think occasionally I'll do like a $50 bet. But when you get to the point when you're jumping from minimum bets to multiple $100 bets and then back down, that's when you start drawing attention to yourself. But that's the point of counting cards, is so that you know when the odds are in your favor, that's when you up your bet. And I also forgot, or I didn't forget, it's just one of those little things that you just learn with experience. I knew that you could sit out hands. I just didn't do it. I just, until someone next to me was like, I'm going to sit out a few hands. And I was like, oh, fuck, the count is really low right now, which means that the odds are not in my favor. With low counts, you should sit out. Again, balancing the whole don't draw too much attention to yourself. So big things I learned, why I'm not stressed about losing, is A, it's part of the game. B, I feel like I made strides in my counting ability. And C, I just took in there. You just cannot simulate the casino environment, not by yourself, at least. You know, I have an app that I use to play the game, and you can deal your own cards and stuff, but it is just not the same with all of the distractions. You know, you got the beverage lady going by, you've got other people talking to you, you've got the dealer talking to you, you've got to be watching the pit boss, making sure they're not watching you. You got to be trying to learn the dealer's mannerisms. When a dealer has a 10 up card, they have to slide it under this little thing to see what the whole card is. Because if it's an ace, the dealer has blackjack and the hand is over, right? And so if you can learn how the dealer's body language responds to that checking, and then what they do with the card after the fact, how long they look, if they have to check again. And so this is something I was thinking about. So if they check their card, they're like, okay, I'm good. And then they get halfway through and they're like, oh, they forget what their up card is. To me, that signifies it's probably not like a 10, because the dealer knows if they've got double 10s. It's just in their brain. They're like, oh, fuck, that's bad for the table. But if they have to go back and check it, that tells me, okay, they probably don't have a 10. So they have less, or they have maybe more of a stiff hand versus a pat hand, a bad hand versus a good hand. So learning dealer body language, that's also something I feel like I made progress on. I just want to make one more note on this video. Yes, I lost money, but it's part of the game. Zero stress about it. There's another additional ancillary benefit, maybe. I had fun. I had fun, and I don't really have fun in my life. I find ways to bring joy into the things that I do, but when it comes to just me not having to just force something and me just being in the moment and enjoying it, it's fun. It's a very social thing. The guy next to me, for example, man, like sometimes you just meet people that you have to have known in a past life or something. We vibed super well. He played longer than I did. He was there pretty much the whole time I was, and yesterday I was there about 7-8 hours. There was a point where I was down to like my last $10, and so I made a bet, and it was a situation where you can split your cards. So if you get 2 7s, for example, and the dealer has a 7 up card, you should split your cards based on basic strategy. But I didn't have $10, and I was like, he saw me like check my pockets, and then he very, very discreetly slid over $10 and kind of like, because from what I understand, the casino doesn't like people maybe sharing chips, so you have to be subtle about it. But he like very discreetly slid over 10 so I could split it. And then one of those splits turned into a double. And a double is where if you want one extra card, only one, but you can double your bet at that time. So he slid over another $10, super subtle. And it wasn't like I didn't ask. I didn't even look at him. He was ahead of me in analyzing the situation. And I think I won 2 out of the 3 hands there. I paid him back and stayed alive. And it happened again. And he was just like so cool, like without hesitation, slid over money to help me out. And I think I won that one, and I paid him back, and then ultimately I ended up, losing and just leaving. But the fraternity there of a dude aware of the situation and instinctively jumping in to help. I mean, we're playing a game, but like, if he's good, I think he was pretty good. His chip stack very, very slowly was growing. And so it felt really good, man. Like, this is gambling. And so it's like, I'm treading a very fine line, and I get that. And so I have to be conscious of that. But at this point in time, I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to next weekend. Hopefully not losing, hopefully maybe just going up 200 or breaking even after a few hours. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. And I think I'll end this video there. If you want to see an angrier video, go watch my next video.